Weiter, Prince class for Tiffany Friesen. If you didn't already know, I am in grade 11 and I currently go to Seltham Secondary School. So for my capstone video, I decided I will do a video montage, kind of like photos, like just me talking over my experience as an Indigenous student. And I've shown a lot of my cultural involvement, as that's like a big portion of kind of what makes me me. And I didn't talk about the struggles. Like, I spent the last 3 years kind of rediscovering who I was as a person, and people don't really talk about how you can fall into the wrong crowd, and I definitely try to fit like the expectations of the society today. So I didn't know who I was, and just being able to reflect on this video is able to see how much I've grown as a person. And I know that sounds really cheesy, but so I'll let you watch it for yourself, but yeah, you can carry on. Sorry for interrupting. At my young age, I grew up surrounded by many different Indigenous cultures, some of which I am still learning to this day. A lot of my knowledge came from my elementary school, who valued the importance of teaching the Secwepemc language verbally. I started learning the Secwepemc culture at 3 years old, and ever since then, school has really been my second home. One of my core memories from elementary school was when my class and I created a music video with No Wajid. We were able to perform in Vancouver with many other cultural schools around Canada. Despite all these joyful memories, it's more than just experiences. Culture is who I am, and it's what makes me, me. When things went south last year in my school district, I decided I would join a social activism club. I instantly fell in love, and everything I thought the world should know about these people had the same vision. Week by week, we'd continuously fight for action to be done throughout our school and district community, whether that was Black Lives Matter protests, Indigenous issues, Asian hate crimes, district-wide dress codes, or even mental health issues. It was us students who did everything in our power to create change. There were times that made us experience activism burnout, but throughout the power of great leaders, we were able to create change. After the club leaders, Casey and Emma, graduated, they asked if I would take over the club. I wanted to keep the legacy going, so I said yes. With the help of a couple other ladies in my grade, we eventually took the role as leaders to actively advocate on social issues. So far, we touched on racism, homophobia, sexism, and much more. One recent project we worked on was a formal letter to the school district surrounding the incident, where a support worker at school stated she would cut an Indigenous boy's hair off if he did not do his homework. So much more needs to be accomplished, although working well on the basics is how we will get to our vision. The most important thing to remember is you too can be an educator. As an Indigenous student myself, learning the Secwepemc culture definitely changed my perspective and aspects on how I live the life that I do. The big thing about growing up was being able to listen to different elders tell their stories, as well participate in many different cultural events. I think being able to be in a circle where we uplift our spirits. So there has been a few different ceremonies and cultural events that kind of, they were really, really powerful, and one of them was when the 215 children's remains had been discovered on the Secwepemc territory. I think just in Kamloops alone, they were able to wake up the whole world and realize that, this is real, and I think something needs to change. And it's just like a matter of how.
Unknown at this point, the stunning news has already touched the greater Kamloops First Nation community. Many of of whom gathered at a site near the school Friday to share their grief.
So, I guess community-wide, there was this man named Brock Fraser who decided to run 215 kilometers to support the 215 children that had been lost.
Throughout the province are watching everything that he's done for us. We can't thank him enough.
And I remember reading that one day and I woke up and I'm like, I want to do that. I don't know how. I am not capable of running that much kilometers, but I tried.
I had a couple of moments of doubt in myself of whether or not I could do this. Of course, I'd never done anything of the like.
You know, just for myself, I knew that this was like the very least I can do. As much pressure as I'm putting on myself, I need to get it done. I ended up going like halfway through that run. I did go back though and start drumming for everyone. But I think that situation alone, it really shown how much support we had in the community. My mom and her best friend decided to walk 215 kilometers within a 2-week time period. They walked every day for the next 2 weeks, holding the bright orange flag high in the air. I grew up around a huge teaching, which was a 7th sacred teaching. These all represent an animal, and animals are a big representation in Indigenous culture, as we're all heavily connected to the land and every living thing in it.
To make a change in the way we do things and the way we think and treat others. So, thank you guys.
Advocating on the Indigenous issues and acknowledging that, yeah, this stuff happened, but what are we going to do as a whole to get past it? This takes a lot of time and energy to get to that point. Over the years, I definitely learned a lot about expanding my knowledge for my culture and kind of how it reflects who I am and who I want to be. If I had advice for any Indigenous student who was wanting to reconnect with their culture, I would say just remember who you were as a child and what you like to do. I think that's like a really big aspect, you know, you have to know who you are. You have to know who you are.
You better run!
So you know who you want to become. And I think that's the biggest thing that I learned along my years in high school. And I'm hoping that will help anyone else who's wanting to figure out more about themselves and who they are as a person and an individual. Anyways, I'm out.